Hello, this is Martin Brossman.
Whitney Hill.
And Whitney, I wanted to take a moment for us to look at an introduction to Google Analytics in your web development company and marketing. You've been looking at these for quite a few years.
Yeah, about, as long as Google's had them.
Right, exactly.
And we used something else before that.
Right. So what I'm starting to look at here is the Google Analytics summary being pulled into a WordPress site using a plugin. And then we'll go over and see it on the Google side. But to me, it's one of the most valuable tools to keep score. You know, you want to see what's going on with your social media and watch that. Then you want to see how much is coming to your website. Then, of course, the conversion, how much the phone is ringing and contact. So let's just start by just kind of describing. We're looking at one of my websites, and here it's showing these numbers here, visits. It's being brought in. We'll just kind of describe the graphic we're seeing there first.
Okay, yeah. Basically, Google gives you the opportunity, and the default is past 30 days, but you can really go back and look at any kind of history here, as long as you've been running the Google Analytics on your site, and see this activity. And you can actually you have the ability through Google Analytics to compare timeframes together. So you could compare the last 3 months to the 3 months before, or you could compare the last 3 months to the 3 months, the same time period for the previous year. It's extremely flexible there.
And this is important in a social media manager, because you may want to say, before we start, I need to see your analytics to see a baseline of where the traffic's coming from and what are the main words they're using. So let's break some of this down.
That's a key element, baseline. What we're looking at here is activity, and activity, can mean a lot of different things. That's where you got to understand what's going on the outside. But at the very least, you can, before implementing programs, can use this as a baseline when you first get started to see what the effect of different programs that you're using have on the site stats.
Excellent. So let's start with just looking at some of these numbers here, like visits, page view, and just defining them. Okay. Would you just go through and explain?
Yeah, visits right there are basically measuring. A visit is considered when someone shows up on your site, and there's a certain period of time there that, and I can't remember exactly.
I think it's about 3 days, isn't it? Not for unique
I'm not sure if it's that long. In any case, it is, it's basically looking at someone's come on your site, and they might be there, a period of time, come back to the home page several times within a certain time period, but that would represent one visit.
Gotcha.
And then there is a period of time they come back again, that's recognized as a second visit. Okay, and that's a visit, depending on what you're looking at there, to the site or to a particular page on the site.
Excellent. Then we've got page views. That's really showing in this time period the total number of individual pages, including blog and other, that they've looked at.
Right. And on an average site, a 3-to-1 ratio of page visits to actual visits, or page views to actual visits, is pretty typical there. But page views actually, getting you in and showing you, how many different pages they looked at on your website.
And out of those, it says here 68% are new visits.
Right. Now, you need to understand how that number is actually come up with. What they're looking at is, they're looking at, they're tracking, I believe, their IP address, and if you're coming in on a different IP, I believe that you could be looked at as another new visit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that number is only going to be so accurate. Where that number is mostly valuable is to look at trending. When you first start your website up, everything's going to be a new visit. As time goes on, you're going to get an idea of a ratio there, and then it's one of those things. It's not going to be a 100% correct number, but you can use it to gauge trends and that type of thing.
So again, that's why you want to know some beginning levels and where it's going.
Right.
And then time on the site.
Time on the site, that's a guesstimate as well too. There's a certain threshold there that if they don't see you coming back, that they're going to start you over again as another visit. But you might get on the site and walk away, get a cup of coffee, and come back 30 minutes later and keep on going, and they might still log that as the same visit there. But again, this is one of these metrics here that once you got a baseline, you can see the effect of different types of programs or changes to your website and see if you get a bump in average time or not.
So 2.43 is not bad. It's a good average. You'll see, here's where you'll see for example, a huge jump sometimes from coming from Pinterest. That's where we started seeing numbers like 11 minutes and stuff.
Yeah.
Really rare to see, but that was what sold me on Pinterest, because I saw they're coming from Pinterest and spending that much time. That's a show of time commitment that really sold me on the value of Pinterest.
Well, and that's the thing there. You deployed a new program, Pinterest, and you discovered that there was a significant increase in your average time on site. And so now, you use that as a relative gauge there to show you that, wow, this was a good program here. We're getting the right people onto the website. They're really interested in the content that we've got here.
And then our next here is bounce rate. And that's I'd like it under 50.
Right. Yeah.
But that's basically they're staying more than about 5 seconds on the site.
Yeah.
Very important number to look at.
The reason why bounce rate is so important is that high bounce rates tend to lower your stature with Google, and especially with certain types of keyword terms.
Yeah.
To give you an example, we had one customer we worked with was a dental place, and they were a custom dental shop, or what I call where they're doing a lot of the high-end services like teeth whitening and that type of thing. But they were also a family dentistry. Well, we had real low bounce rates on the the custom work and everything. But on the other side of the shop with the family dentistry, we were having 90% bounce rates. And what we finally realized was that people were coming to the website and they were seeing this as being sort of a
boutique place,
a boutique dentistry instead of a family dentistry. And so we had to do some things to the site. We put some things up there with a mother and kids and things like that. And that brought their bounce rate down for some of the key family terms that we were going. And we wanted to have good stuff with both of them. So we didn't fundamentally change the site. We just got pictures up there of a mother bringing her kids into the dentist office. And people realized, oh, wow, this is a family dentistry too when they first landed on it.
So if it gets over, first of all, it's better to be under 50.
Yes.
And if it gets over 70, you should be really concerned.
Yeah. And you get up over 90.
You're in big trouble.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that can affect this. And one of the biggest nowadays that you need to realize is mobile devices. If your site is not responsive, okay,
mobile friendly,
and not mobile friendly, okay, and you can drill down into Google and see how you're doing with bounce rate on mobile devices. And if you're over here, the regular websites maybe got a 40% bounce rate, but your mobile stuff is getting 90%. That may average out to like 60 or something like that.
Yep.
And so you want to drill down there and really, it could be you're getting the wrong search terms coming in because of some sort of weird deal. Or it could be something like Martin and I were looking at the other day of a micro business website that had a high bounce rate, and when we really drilled down, we found out that there was some site down in Brazil that was sending over a large share of traffic that really wasn't something that people were going to come to the site and want to stay. And
you actually used the tool Google Advanced Search to find that too.
Yeah, that was.
So I just want to mention that.
And we had to do a little detective work to figure that one out. But.
So sometimes you might need some tech support on this. I want to show you one that I missed. See this? This is a cool WordPress class in Raleigh. That was something we put up a while ago as a test in a class. Forgot to bring it down. It had nothing on it and had 18 views.
Yeah.
So that was that's a bounce rate waiting to happen. So I just deleted that page so it'd get out of the indexing. But that alone could be the cause of this problem here. So start looking at some of your pages. Are they representing what they should be? Now, in my case, upcoming classes, you want to see are the pages where they're going first. We got upcoming classes. That's good news because I want people looking at where my classes are. 70 views. Then we have student only. I'm sending people with a password there. That makes sense. Small business training top classes, marketing my courses, good. And then I just taught a WordPress class, so that should be higher. And then I saw this one go, what is this? And here I just found something that should be contributing to that bounce rate because there's nothing on it. And, sometimes...
Now, let me mention one other thing. With paid advertising, if you're doing Google AdWords or some other type of advertising, and you're going out there and sending people to a landing page on your site that doesn't reflect what those particular terms are, you're basically paying to have a higher bounce rate on your website.
Yeah, and we've seen that more than once.
Yeah, and that's interruption advertising too, because you're basically corralling people into something, and they're like coming in, they're like, this isn't what I'm looking for. But the most common mistake on that is you just go out there and do AdWords and you send people to the homepage of your website. And what you really need to have is a page that's specifically addressing the search terms that you're going after.
The next thing I want to talk about is top referring. This is something you want to look at. And we actually found a malicious bounce occurring from this because on a site where they had... It showed up as a URL shortened site called a bit.ly site that was called Free Facebook Stock. And it was a website that offered scuba diving. So someone maliciously had created some type of page, used the bit.ly to point to it, and his bounce rate had gone up, and it was probably one of his competition trying to hurt his site.
Yeah.
So you want to see what this is, top referring, and look at what they are. So here, I looked this up. This is a separate site with the membership about Google Plus, and they're probably pointing to one of my resources. Well, that's great. I'm getting some free marketing. This is Facebook, which would be my Facebook announcements and others coming in. This is my social media management site. YouTube's bringing some stuff in, probably from my videos, and my free WordPress blog, they announce courses. So make sure these make sense. These are showing you where your referrals are, and it's also a way as a social media manager to show management, look, we're getting traffic here from it.
Yeah.
So top referring is an important one. Now top searches. Say something about that, because that's another important thing.
Well, one of the things that as Google is more and more people are having Google accounts and that type of thing, Google's not letting you see all the search term information, which really is some of the most valuable information that you can see. But you do get to see a certain amount of it. And you just sort of got to weight that. Of course, the more data you have, the more you're going to be able to really get a well-rounded look at it and stuff. But you're going to have to weight what you can see to really understand what's going on in there and stuff. But with the not provided section there with top searches, that's a number that's even important, even though you don't know what the search terms are, because it shows you overall how well you're doing in organic.
Right. You just can't know what the words were they were coming in.
Right.
So here we got at least 4 searches in the time period looking up by the name. So that means someone's looking up by the name on the web and finding it by looking up my name, which is useful. And then interesting, they're looking for a course on eBay called Core Competency of eBay. So I might make a decision, do I want to offer a course like that? The fact they came.
Yeah.
So these are critical because you're starting to see how people are coming into your site. Do I want to offer a product on it? Or am I misleading someone in some way? Both could be
the core
true.
competency of eBay, you could put a specific tool page out there for that particular thing and dominate now and that. If they're already coming in there and you haven't even done that, that could be an area that you look to go and dominate in with search and actually build a page that's specifically tailored to that.
Yeah, if I had let's say 5 visits on it, I might want to get territory, and then also look at this, how to build a website. It's interesting how there's some others, but this is telling us how they're finding the site, and are we representing ourselves well? So this is really valuable.
Now, one of the things that you can do is in an AdWords account on Google is to go in and use the tools in there to run these search terms through and see what other, there may be related stuff that, you're already getting profiled in that direction, that other terms that you can go after here, with your organic search and through AdWords, you can use tools to actually do that research and really find out what people are looking for that are related to those terms that you're already successful with.
Great point. With the Google Keyword Planning Tool, it's called now, formerly known as the Google Keyword Tool.
Yeah.
Now, this is again being pulled from Google Analytics. So we're going to go over to, I've signed into my Google Analytics to see what the main page looks like. Very similar. It's interesting. Somehow the numbers don't always 100% transfer. It does show a little bit of the information on it. And would you kind of describe what we're looking at here now?
Okay, this is
the main analytics page.
Okay, main analytics, yeah. Here basically we're looking at visits here. You've got this graph up here. If you go up top here, that's where up in the upper right-hand corner is where you can set the date range you want to look at. And then you've got the compare to either previous period, it'll default, or to the same time next year.
Excellent. So you can then compare 2 years together and see how you're doing.
Yeah.
Very important as a social media manager to say, I'd like a comparison of the last 2 years. Could you get, and they might have to get this from the web person.
And this is really powerful when you're talking to a client and showing them progress with your program. You're basically able to come in and show activity here and show progress.
Very, very good point. And then here's an example where the social media, what had occurred is I actually had it turned off for a while. I was using just the stuff that was only available through WordPress on this site, and then I added this site to it, so that's why there wasn't happening. Or a break can occur, something can occur. So then if it's not running, you don't get the data, do you?
Yeah, that's right.
So let's go back to where we were. Let me just get it back to 2004. And so now we've got obviously different languages, so it's good it's mainly English. And then we can find out which browsers.
Let me point something out on that. The way we ended up finding this problem we had with this micro business where we were getting bad traffic in there was that we saw that it was coming from Portuguese, basically Portuguese language site.
And so I saw that you took the letters and looked them up to find out what it is.
I was like, wow, this is Portuguese. And we figured out it was Brazil, and we found the site and everything. But if you look at these stats, most of the time you're going to be working with an English site. If you look at these stats and it's an English site and you see some sort of crazy thing coming from China or something like that, then you got a problem there.
Yep. Now we can also get a country territory data. So it looks like, luckily, mostly the U.S.
Yeah.
Got to be suspicious of Brazil there. And then cities, that tells me something. It might give me an idea that a stronger market's there. This is important because I just taught a bunch of courses in New Bern. A lot of people came there. And I taught a course in Henderson. So it's showing me what matches my experience. But what if I had a huge surge in Rocky Mount, maybe I should be doing more business
Yeah.
there or something. And then we get browser data. So we have showing the different browsers people use. Hey, I use Chrome. That's good. Operating systems, it's showing this. Service providers, that's pretty interesting. What are they? And mobile. Make sure your site's mobile friendly, but it's still showing that in this time period, a large percent are coming on the Apple platform.
Yeah, and you can go in to those platforms and look for bounce rate and see, how you're doing there as far as your site coming up in different types of devices.
So if you have a non-mobile friendly site and you're getting this type of numbers, you're probably going to generate a pretty big bounce rate.
Yeah, I would expect to see that. Now, I'll tell you, one thing with marketing is you really never know for sure what people are going to do until you actually run the experiment. And I've seen some sites that were not mobile friendly necessarily, but they didn't have a bad bounce rate on handheld. It's nothing's guaranteed on this.
Good point.
Stuff.
If it's something they really want, they might spread their fingers.
Yeah, they
out
might
and find
spread it. They might not really care. It's impossible to 100% predict what people are going to do until you actually go out there and do it.
Yep.
And the great thing is that the web's fairly inexpensive to do that. Even when you're paying for things like AdWords and stuff like that, you can run controlled experiments to see exactly what the human behavior is going to be.
Now, Whitney, let's go down and look at behavior and then content. So all pages. This is pretty important because this is showing us where people are going.
Yeah.
Our pages in which they're showing up and how long they're staying on. What would you want to add to that?
Well, I mean, one of the things that is key here is looking at bounce rate because it'll show you where you got some problems with individual pages. And
great. So let me sort that and see what we got.
So
now we got 100% on one page, but what matters is this. Do you see that catalog 6? These larger page views. And still 100%, right?
Yeah. One page wouldn't be enough to really make a call, but here's one here that's got 47 page views, and it's 100% bounce rate. Okay, so these pages are not, for whatever reason, have some problems and stuff. And then of course you also want to look at what's working for you, and
then so we can look at the lower ones. Okay, so now we've got a very low bounce rate, and then see what are the big hitters in this. And then we can also see who's spending the most time on what pages.
Yeah.
So we can sort by different items here to really get the amount of time.
Yeah.
So this is an ebook, and it looks like those are on it, but they're local directories. That's interesting. I might want to check out what that is. They're spending 21 minutes on that of the 14
and
people
got
on
14
average.
page views there,
That's pretty interesting.
Now, typically most of a lion's share of your page views are going to be the home page of the site. Those a lot of times are going to weight more with Google, and also too that tends to be more people are going to come through the front door of your business than anywhere else.
Right here, and that's the slash right there.
Yeah, that's the slash.
Great. Now let's look at the keywords coming in, and really the organic, because I don't have a paid ad right now. This is the other one to watch because these are the words people are looking me up with.
Yeah. And it looks like NC Small Business Training. That means that a lot of people are coming to the site because of your course is branding that site, and they're going in and looking up those keywords there, and that is pulling up your website up first, and those are probably mostly people that are taking your course that are coming into the site.
And they're just good. They know the name and they're coming, and then of course me, and then I can spread out the time period too, because we're looking at a time range right now. So you could extend this time range and look at it and see what are the words they're using to look me up. Should I be offering them? Am I leading them in for the wrong reasons? Just like we saw on the other, just more extensively. The more you stare at it, the more you learn about it.
Yeah.
And it's important. And it's important as a social media manager that you're asking to see the analytics.
Yeah.
And you get it before you walk in as condition of starting to work. Because your customer may not always tell you how well you're doing. We've had that before where they were doing well, but they want to look like they're not doing well so they can try to justify we're not doing enough for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is the beginning. Any closing comments on
analytics? This is one of these things where over the long haul you want to look at trends, and that's what's really going to tell you what's going on with your overall marketing program. So if I'm comparing my organic traffic to people coming directly in, well, the direct is going to sort of tell me how my branding is and how my outside media that's driving traffic in is doing, whereas the organic's going to show me what my stature is on Google.
Such an important point right there.
Yeah.
That means they're putting in my domain name.
Yeah.
Which would be me. Of course, in my class, they get it from the sheet and they're entering it in organic. So again, the more you watch it, the more you learn.
But here's the thing: these two areas, organic traffic and direct traffic, sort of feed off each other. You'll find the more your outside stuff is successful, that tends to raise your stature with Google. That's a popular site. Google's going to tend to want to show you more, and it's going to help you in your organic search and everything. And vice versa, more people who are coming in organically, of course, are also going to help your branding. People are going to see you more out there on the search engine and that type of thing. So they tend to sort of fuel each other, and a well-balanced program is a good thing to have.
Excellent. Whitney, thanks for helping out with this. How can people reach you? You're kind enough to help.
Yeah, my company is Carolina Web Consultants. If you go up on the web and look that up, or just look me up, Whitney Hill. And I'm easy to be contacted. You can go there.
And what's your domain name?
The domain name is internetpeople.net.
Great. Thanks, Whitney. Appreciate it.